Do we have a theme song? And I guess we are live now, everyone. Welcome to Brander's Media, Brander's Magazine, here with two very familiar faces. Sibel Jones, CEO of SEGD, the Society of Experiential Graphic Designers, and our good mate, Josh Roush, CEO of Movetic. And we're talking everything SEGD this week, because next week is a big moment in time for you all. Yeah. Welcome to the show, or to the programming, or to LinkedIn, or wherever we are.
Steven, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Being here. Really appreciate it.
This was totally last minute on our part, because like earlier in the week, Catalina and I met and we were like, oh, next week is SCGD. And then I had recently seen that Josh was speaking. And so I texted Josh and I was like, bro, I'm so stoked that you're like engaging.
I know all things Branders and SEGD merge, and I love it, Steven.
Yeah, there's a bright horizon on the future. But all right, so what's happening next week, Sibel?
Yeah, so next week on the 18th and 19th of March, we are going to be in LA for SEGD branded environments. So we're going to kick off with tours on the 18th. We've got a tour of behind the scenes of crypto. We have a full access tour of the BMO Stadium. We've got a behind the scenes tour of the Rose Bowl Stadium. And I ran into somebody yesterday. She's like, my brother's so mad at me that I'm doing this, because he's like so jealous.
Rose Bowl is iconic.
I know. And then HKS has just opened like a new lab at their, they've created a new headquarters there in LA. And so that's going to be kind of like a very cool, get to see what HKS is like, you know, Innovation Lab is like. And then we have a party that evening at Prank Bar. So that's like the first day of pre-events. Then Thursday, we're going to go into like a full day symposium around branded environments, sports and entertainment in real life. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we close out, actually, Gensler has graciously hosted us in the building there. And then we're going to close out in Gensler's offices for like a closing mixer, which is going to be really fun.
That sounds like a blast. Josh, your first time attending an SEGD event, correct?
Yeah, excited. It will be cool too, just to be back in LA and just be a part of the community.
You touched upon a couple of things about what I always loved and admired about the SEGD events and the symposiums is because we're always talking experience, that there are experiences, like you're not just, you're not just sitting in a classroom for hours, getting bored to death. Like you're going places, IRL is a thing. And here we are. I don't know if anyone else caught this, but this is the 6-year anniversary of the day the world closed down and shut down. And here we are. And now we're back to talking to IRL. I think we've actually come full circle.
I know. Yeah, it's amazing because one of our speakers actually, I think he's our opening speaker, Rob Bischoff. He is head of DXD for Gensler, all of Gensler. He's based in LA, but he said that for them in the sports and entertainment industry, like because medical, hospitality, retail, workplaces all doing experience. So like if you're in sports and entertainment, the bar is like getting pushed from other factors. Like it used to be where sports and entertainment were the drivers. Now experience is the differentiator across all of the verticals, right? So we know that that's setting the expectations even higher. And the other thing is that we're taking what would normally be a sport complex that is just, open during football season. Now that's 24/7, 365. How do you activate those communities? How does that sports venue turn into like a cultural, experiential hub, fandom hub that kind of attracts different audiences at different times of the day and different days of the week? And so, that's kind of where I think our experience design community excels. And Josh and I were talking about this specifically from like the brand birth. It's not really anymore, and I'll turn it over to Josh, but like to be a brand, you also have to be in real life. You just can't be on digital and print platforms.
Josh, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, to that point, right, even what you're saying, it's so interesting because, like you were saying, the bar of expectation has gone up. Well, digital and traditional has shifted that a lot too. But even when we were talking about it, it's just the foundation, right? Like it's the depth behind the brand. And I think that's what I'm excited to kind of dive into as well, because when you look at all these different companies, they're developing such strong identities of all different people, right? And I think even if you look at the clientele people that we're listening to or that are going to be speaking, that's the whole gamut, right? But without that and without a strong foundation, you don't have something to stand on or stand for something as well. You know, and I think that's what's so interesting. You have a high bar, and then with that, you have all these communities, and then how do you connect with them? Well, you connect with them through values. And so you kind of look at that through line, and that's what I'm excited to talk about is how to create fandom that way.
And that's what I've always seen, even from my first days of joining SEGD over 10 years ago and being a part of the community. It was like, I come from the traditional brand side, and there was always this side. I was like, how are we not bridging? How is this, you know, because the foundation and that through line, Josh, that you said, that thread, that, you know, that strategic rigor that is developed foundationally comes out in that execution, comes out in all those little micro touch points that we're going to see IRL, and one is going to impact the other. So the fact that these, you know, Sabella, you invited Josh, and Josh, you're speaking, right? Or are you just attending?
Yes, he's speaking.
Yes. And
I can imagine you're going to have something awesome to say and really leave people there awestruck with their eyes wide open. But like, I think it's such we have such a responsibility as X-shaped branders that we are, because we could see the full gamut, and we're not just siloed in, I'm a logo designer, or I only do wayfinding for, you know, one particular thing, right? No, how does everything impact? So Sabelle, you've done an amazing job of bringing together and curating the content and the speakers. Who else is going to be speaking, and like, what are their disciplines?
Yeah, so I know you mentioned, you know, Peter Beck. I didn't realize that, but he's at 49 Degrees, and he's bringing his client from the Rose Bowl Stadium. And they're going to talk about, like, the other thing is the monetization of these venues. So think about the Rose Bowl Stadium. Like, it's a historic landmark. You can't just go keep, you know, adding on to it. It's in a park setting, right? So they're going to talk about how they take the spaces that they have and really activate them in unique ways and in layering and storytelling. And then that plays a factor in how you monetize the space versus, you know, other projects that we'll be talking about from like the team from Populous that, you know, they're building maybe new stadiums. Well, that's a different kind of way in which you can kind of, you know, add value to the experience there. We have a really fun, so this is a brand new team. It's the Ontario Tower Buzzers, and they are like, you know, a feeder team for the Dodgers.
Oh, how fun.
They are located in Ontario, which is also where Top Gun, and it has this whole aviation. So their mascot is a bumblebee, who's also, I think, a pilot. And they have the city manager is coming, the general manager from the Ontario Tower Buzzers, and then someone from the brand activation from Populous. And they're just launching. They're just opening in April. So this is brand new. That's super exciting.
Real quick, the Tower Buzzers, is that a minor league? It's a feeder team, so it's a minor league team.
But you know what? What's so fun about those, what they really understand about brand is like, look at Savannah Bananas.
Yes.
People, right?
Yes.
Like your son, Josh, he's going to be like a Savannah, like you should get online now and like try to get tickets.
100%.
So that's what's happening, right? You know, the whole thing about people wanting to be together in community, like what the city of Ontario is developing as a whole, like broader infrastructure, you know, they're investing a lot of money, and it's that spirit that just people create that wonderful fandom that I think is even more so than when you go to the big games. You know, when you go,
it's
why people love college. They love the college games, right? The spirit of that. So,
you know, for years, I've attended minor league games, and we worked, when I was with OpenEye years ago, we worked with a a design team that designed the logos for a lot of the minor league teams to develop our brand identity. So that's how we had all those characters. We worked with an actual firm, and it really had us kind of dive deep into the psychology of minor league baseball. And again, you're not going there necessarily to watch the game. The food is a thing, the experiences are a thing, the between inning entertainment. And this is why you start to see, especially regionally, I know they have the Staten Island Pizza Rats, and like they have like these one-time limited edition hats and these things. I have a hat. It's a New York Yankees cannoli hat from one of the minor league teams in Brooklyn. And they put out these products, but they are always hot.
It's brilliant.
And it's a brilliant way to bring people in. And so I love that you're kind of looking at that as well, because yes, you have these
kinds of scale.
Yeah, that's awesome. You said something earlier too, Sabah, I want to come back to, and around entertainment. And I have this hypothesis that entertainment is changing, and entertainment isn't just Hollywood anymore. And entertainment is starting to mean social. It's starting to mean creators. It's starting to mean how brands and creators are creating activations in real life. That becomes the new entertainment lens. How are you seeing social within the physical environment, and how is what's being talked about through that lens?
You know what I think is interesting? Like, look at Netflix. So Netflix, I mean, first of all, entertainment in its traditional sense has been transformed through social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, things like this. And even like the dismantling of the who were the traditional brands and the traditional entertainment companies. Now Netflix comes in, they're producing their own films, whoever would have known. But now they're going in real life, Netflix house. So I think it's because people are now with entertainment, like we were saying last night, kids know about iconography of, whether it's Star Wars. They might not have even have seen the films, but somehow they're connecting with the characters. And so I think that entertainment has moved into a different kind of spectrum. I mean, seeing The Wizard of Oz come to life in Vegas at the Sphere in a new way, where people are kind of like living the experience. People are going to be going to Netflix in real life to like have dinner and go, so I think that's the evolution. And so we're seeing a back and forth, and entertainment is realizing that it has a resonance, like a visceral resonance of product and experience in ways that it wasn't able to really, I think, ever.
It's almost more accessible now, right? Yeah. Like it's and it's not just the Hollywood elite. Along those lines, and we have to actually because I'm a host, I have questions feeding to me. One of the questions, I don't know if it was on LinkedIn or YouTube, how can smaller brands start thinking about creating meaningful branded environments that foster connection and belonging? Because I think that like in the past, it's when we start thinking of Hollywood, you think Hollywood blockbuster budgets, and we're thinking the Rose Bowl, and we're talking, these large ass brands. But if you're just a startup brand trying to make it, how are you how can you leverage IRL? Josh, why don't you start and give us your POV?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really neat now is that there's a lot of co-branding going on, right? And so when you look at it from that level, we've seen it from a small scale to medium to large. When you look at like pop-ups, right? Like that's a really good example. You're seeing a lot of like running clubs pair with a coffee shop. You're seeing running clubs pair with like a local DJ. Right. You're seeing these different elements of people wanting to become a part of it. And Stephen, you and I have always connected on it. We're just going back to what people want to do. I just saw a study for the other day about, Gen Z's going back to the malls, and really that's starting to hit a lot more too. But it all comes back to the fundamental truth. People just want to connect with other people. Right. And I think we were at such a huge digital point of view that now we're on the other side. And I think that's what's so cool about this event is you get to see that we all have the same thing in common. We just want to bring people together. We want to create creativity that really empowers other people. And really, what's that floor that we can do it in activation in real life? Like that is the purest form of communication and the realest point of view with brand versus marketing and mass.
Did it take an event like COVID to make us like at the end of the day, here we are 6 years later, almost to the day, like did COVID actually do a brilliant thing for us to make us realize the importance of in real life and to like heighten our need for it?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the numbers. I mean, the concert venues and all of these sporting events have skyrocketed since we've been able to gather back together. And I think that's also that fandom thing. So I would even say to the person asking about the smaller brands, like go to your audience and let them love you. And when they love you, they'll be
I
your
love that.
champion. They will
Yep.
share out on social media. They will, send it to their friends.
They
And
will.
so like
Let them love you. Oh, so
yeah. And I think
gorgeous.
that's that fandom in real life. It's really this emotional intensity that goes back to Stephen that, we can't replicate that digitally. And I think
Right.
the pandemic just made us realize that even more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a silver lining. Josh, you said collaborations and partnerships. As I experiment in my midlife crisis and being a social media influencer.
Wait, you're midlife, Stephen?
Totally midlife. I mean, I opened a studio.
He's only
at
through
midlife
page
crisis.
10. Come on, help him out here. Help him out.
The collaborations and partnerships is so strong. We see it even for the tiny little creators going out there. The fact that, we were joking, ABC doesn't mean always be closing anymore. It's always be collaborating, right? Like always accept that collab, always try to strive for that collab. Josh, what are you seeing from some of the brands you're working with? And like, are they safeguarding those collaborations? Are they collabing with anyone? Like, does it have to be structured? Could it be loose? Like, what's your take on how collaborations actually manifest?
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of things, right? I think over the last couple of years, a lot of people have had to do a lot more with less, right? So I think when you look at that fundamentally, I think people are a lot more susceptible and willing to actually collaborate with other people just because they understand that, we have goals and objectives that we need to meet. So that's like kind of like separate, that's like part one. But then on the other side, a lot of people have really kind of gone out and been like, oh man, they've exhausted their target market, right? And they're trying to really push into other markets as well. So the best way to do it from my standpoint is, you built a community, you build an ethos based off of it. If you're trying to get into another community and kind of break in, the best way to do it is to collab, right? And find other adjacencies, other values, you name it. I've seen more brands do, at one point it used to be one collab. Now I'm seeing it where it's like, you're seeing like Nike with like a shoe brand with another brand, and they're all doing a collaborative, campaign together because at the end of the day, they either run out of their TAM or they're trying to figure out like, how can I get into another market? So I think everybody's a lot more open. And then the last thing I'll say that you mentioned was that back to entertainment, we're kind of at an equal level field now, right? So you see all these challenger brands really coming at it. I think it's now the best time ever to actually start a brand because we're at that level where the big guys want to partner with the small guys, right? So it's a very interesting time right now.
Josh, when you're designing out a brand strategy, are you thinking about possible partnerships and collaboration angles? Are you starting to like set that table, even though they're not sitting down to dine yet, but that table setting is there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that table setting's there. I think the figuring out what the world of that person's there, and then the taste of what you want to do. And then the last part is like, what is that lifestyle that you want to create? And what are the touch points outside of your traditional touch points that live within it, right? Highsnobiety just came out with something the other day about saying that like, it's not just about apparel, it's about products, goods, and services as well, and creating extensions for your brands. So that's kind of the way that I'm starting to look at it, which goes so perfect into IRL and activation events is that everybody wants some swag, everybody wants some cool stuff as they leave. So how do you activate accordingly? And that's why I think it's so great to kind of merge both worlds. And they should have been the same from the beginning anyways, but now we're seeing a lot more harmony in that.
So Sibel, I'm going to throw this out. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to build on that because our closing keynote is Rick Edwards. He's VP of brand and look at the games for LA 28.
Oh,
And one of
wow.
the things he's going to talk
Yeah.
about, because they haven't revealed their, that's coming soon, I think. But what he wants to talk about is exactly what you're saying, Josh. Like his hope is not that it's the Olympics on LA, but that LA and all of its amazing, cool diversity is like the celebration and
Mm.
of the Olympics. And so him working with all these different entities to say, you take this part and make it your own, right? So
Yep.
it's a very collaborative, energetic, very authentic to LA and to the community. And there's going to be people that are going to be celebrating the Olympics that maybe don't have tickets, but they're going to have all the swag and they're going to have a party. And so that vibe is really where he's looking towards bringing LA to life for the world, rather than it being like, okay, we're bringing the Olympics to LA.
Which I love that
Mhm.
inside out methodology.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you were saying, like, LA is such a beautiful culture, has so many different nuances to it. And yeah, I mean, talk about experiential at an event like that. I mean, there's so many layers at every single place that you have.
Right. Unlike the Super Bowl that has just,
in their own way and their own personality,
Yeah.
So that's where
Yeah.
those collaborations, those synergies occur.
And the event being in LA, you're going to have almost like, okay, like we're on the road to LA 28 now. Like we're a couple years away. And is there any talk, especially with some of the venues, about FIFA and about the World Cup? And
Yeah.
is this
Well, we were going to talk about the World Cup. We have Pesa who's working on it from Populous. But I think they've been very much like they want to save it for when people are actually experiencing it. SCGD is having our annual conference in Kansas City in October. So we're probably going to do a follow-up on FIFA then. But people are super pumped and very excited. So it's a big year this year for sports to continue, right? And look at how the Super Bowl and the Olympics made us feel at the beginning of the year. Like there was so much love, right? So it just shows like, well, we weren't all there, but we felt it. And so I think there's really a momentum around experience. And Josh and I have been talking a lot about too, like authentic storytelling, like, brands having like a real layered nuance that the fans and community can get around, where they feel like a personal connection, not like it's just like selling to them.
And that's a question that we actually just got in on: what role does storytelling play when designing spaces for brands and fans? Like, is it something that's being thought of from the inception? Is it natively in there? Like, where is that role of storytelling?
That's good, Josh.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say, it's kind of twofold, right? It depends on, the company or, the venue that you have. But I think there's a couple opportunities, right? So I think it always needs to be at the beginning, right? But the good news about sports and entertainment and music in live venues is that they kind of already have their really cool story that they have, right? So ultimately, what we want to do is like, what is the things that we can develop on the depth and the foundation of the actual company or organization, you name it, based off of that, and then develop it. To me, my personal stance is it has to be at the beginning, but there's so much beauty in really leveraging what is and then trying to tie that to the modern times as well. So I think there's like that duality that does such a good job with creating moments like this.
We saw that even, years ago when I was doing a lot of work within digital signage. It should have never be an afterthought, right? Like we almost have to be working with the architects to see where the spatial identity is going to come on, where screens are going to go, how we're going to use it, because then it just seems like an afterthought. You're retrofitting something that shouldn't be, and it's and the customer experience is going to suffer because of it.
Yeah. It's interesting. We have a group that's going to be talking about the future of fandom. And in some ways, there are other ways to connect with people in a high-tech way, but that's more subtle. So like wearables and personalization around events. So, there's like I think we've started with simple things like Taylor Swift at the concert where the lights are synchronized on the bands that you're wearing. But this group is like using neuroscience to really understand what's happening in the brain and how we connect, and ways in which we can enhance and elevate and extend that brand experience. So that's going to be a really interesting talk. And we have some like super high enthusiastic brand experience people that are talking about work that they're doing.
You use the term enthusiastic. I'm not like, are they hyper? Like,
well, I don't know. You didn't get to come to the last event, but Johnny Greco, his company is called Fine Entertainment. He has, I say I'm the Energizer Bunny. He absolutely is. But he's done a lot of amazing work with like the Knights in Las Vegas and the Kraken in Seattle. So there's great, like really in-depth experience that's going to be shared out.
Oh wow, I'm so excited to hear some of these outputs and Josh, so what are you talking about specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I think where we hinted on it a little bit, but from my standpoint, I'm really diving into that foundation, right? Of like, what is that kind of story arc to kind of create from the bottom? Back to that question that we just received, I think that is one of the most important things, because to me, I mean, me very specifically, but every little detail matters, right? So at every level of a brand, every little moment is an opportunity to delight them, right? So from my standpoint, it's, I want to look at it from, there's evolution of storytelling, but then how do I essentially bring that into experiential, right? And for me, it's about the depth, it's about that foundation, and really finding what are different ways to kind of create these mini worlds for people to be excited about. Because the best part is we're seeing so much happening right now on an innovation level, all across the world, from small, medium, and large moments. And what's even better is you look at like music events, and they've been kind of the core that have been doing it, but now you have these other brands in the CPG arena really elevating the game. So that's kind of where I'm going to be sitting a little bit more, is like on the foundation, kind of go a little bit different in that route, but really try to find the depth behind brands.
Incredible. And I know for those who are watching, and if you want to attend, and to our Brander subscribers out there, you can receive $100 off registration. And so if you use Brander's SEGD at registration, you can receive some money off. And if you're in the LA area or just SoCal, shit, if I was in SoCal, I know I would be going. I would be right there, but I'm not. I mean, I wish I was. Sibel, is that your microphone making that sound? Are you doing something?
Maybe.
Now. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing that. No, I'm kidding. I got Catalina texting me being like, "Can you tell Josh?" And she blamed you, Josh. Sorry.
No, it might have been my agenda in front of me.
I think it might have been the agenda. We're all good.
Now that it's over.
Now that we're done. Let's talk about, I want to ask you this though, Sibel, now that, you sound crystal clear. I'm kidding. You sounded great the whole time. In designing this event, like you were designing an event about an IRL event, and you were creating an IRL event. Like, what does that do? Like, what does that do for your stress level? Like, you have to continuously have a high bar set, because you can't, you can't have a crappy event talking about amazing events. You know what I mean?
Right. I know. That's always, being designers of experiences, that's every event for me. It gives me high anxiety. Right. But I think we like to do some fun things. So like we're going to be, we're asking everybody what their walk-up song is. I don't know. Josh was having a hard time. I don't know if he's posted his yet. We want
Stay tuned.
People come also for the networking, right? Yeah. They want to connect. They want to meet people that they can collaborate and pitch projects together. So we've got some great icebreakers that we're going to be, using to get people to have that conversation together. And, I think the more that we can make this interactive and intimate rather than like Josh is, preaching to everyone.
Right.
We have a very, and Stephen and Josh, I keep telling Josh he'll know it, but like it's a very congenial community at SUDD. I think there aren't a lot of egos. Everyone really just wants to learn from each other. And so setting up that kind of culture is a lot of what I try to do, so that everybody feels like they have a platform and they have access to have that conversation with others. Because really, I know from hosting all these things, they don't want shiny pictures. They can get that online. What they want to hear is like, what were the struggles? Where did you fail? How did you come back? What did you learn? How did you negotiate?
And I think it's so interesting too, because it is truly multidisciplinary. And unlike other conferences where, you know, everyone might be within the same lane, you are attracting fabricators, those who are actually making the shit inside of the location, to architects, to brand designers, to brand strategists now, and all these different points of view.
Digital companies. Yeah.
That's right. Like, so it's not a one size fits all approach or narrative that gets shared at SCGD events. It purely is, 360 degree.
I think that's the secret sauce. Yeah.
That is the secret sauce. Yeah. That absolutely is the secret sauce, because we've all gone to those conferences where you're just sitting next to like everyone who does the exact same thing as you. And let's just be real, those aren't the best events to go to. You want to go to the event where there's variety. We love variety. So I think that's something.
That's why I love the mashup with the Branders group. And we've had such a great collaboration, Stephen.
That's right. That's right. Cool. Well, I wish you both a tremendous amount. Best of luck next week. You're both going to break more legs than I care to share.
I hope not, because Josh is a new dad. He can't have a broken leg.
Yes.
No. Please no. So before we leave, Sibel, just maybe some closing words, throw a URL out there, whatever you got.
No, I mean, I think it's like really, these experiences are like changing cities. It's not just one venue. I mean, it is really like, it's retail, it's F&B, it's hospitality.
Placemaking, it's all of it.
Placemaking. And it's the differentiation of like, destinations and survival and revenue generation and culture. And so we're super excited to do that. You can go on SCGD.org, and thank you for sharing the code of Branders SCGD, and just, look forward to seeing everybody in LA, and especially Josh, because I finally got to meet him in person at Branders this fall.
Yes.
Excited. Awesome. Josh, closing words?
No, just excited to be a part of this community. And I think you said something that was super important to me. Let's just be real, and let's just be honest, and let's provide a really good perspective. And that's ultimately the goal of the event.
It really is. And I think, knowing you two and knowing this, knowing the organization, Josh, I have a feeling that you're going to be in the SCGD mix for years and years to come. Perhaps even the new San Diego chapter. I think he's going to be president of San Diego soon. Awesome. For more on Branders, you can go to brandersmagazine.com. For more on me, you can go to njcontentstudio.com or stephenbacanza.com. I just got a bunch of things out there, but I think most importantly, rewatch this, take notes, go to the event, and don't be a stranger.
Thanks,
all right, everyone.
Thanks,
Appreciate you both. Yep. All right. Ciao, guys.